is going on, everybody? Everybody, what is going on? Hey, welcome to this special live. I am Lawrence Henderson. Today, the National Association of African Americans and Human Resource Atlanta Chapter VP of Plans and Professional Development, and I have the pleasure to introduce to y'all our speaker for today and his panel of leaders, ground shakers, just juggernauts in the industry. I have Tamiko Drummond with me, the brand success coach, but I brought with us some heavy hitters, y'all. I brought with us some heavy hitters. I got Mr. Charles Borden, I got Mr. Nat Austin, Mr. Ivan Crosling, Ms. Michelle Brewer kicking in, and Ms. Erica Broadwater, and then Mr. William Brolick, y'all. So, hey, I need y'all to come up off of mute with my panel and Tamiko, say what's up to the people.
Hey everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I am super excited because listen, these executives right here, they are the epitome of a high performance team. Listen, look in your dictionary, you might see them. We just came off of the NAAAHR National Conference. Woo! We are still up here, okay? We haven't come down yet, okay? So we thank them so much for being here. Lawrence, do you think we should just go around and let them introduce themselves, or
I would do it justice. So they gotta let them introduce themselves because I might mess something up, and I need to get it right. So what I want to do is I want to start with Erica Broadwater to kick us off, and then we'll make our rounds around this dynamic crew.
Hey y'all, hey, what's going on? ATL, Tamiko has become my best friend. No, I'm so happy and elated. Look, this is what we do after work hours, right? We party, we have fun, we love what we do, but it keeps going on. And you know, I just keep calling. I said, HR, we don't sleep. Right. Going, right? But I am your national president and so thrilled to be on this call. I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time, but yes, we are still on conference high, and we're not coming down anytime soon.
All right. I love it. Erica, thank you so much for being here. And next, we're going to jump over to Mr. Nat Austin.
Oh, well, okay. Thank you for jumping over to me, Lawrence. Good afternoon to some and good morning, depending on where you are. And also, if it's going international, a very happy good evening. I'm Nat Austin. I am the chairman of the National Board of the National Association of African Americans and Human Resources, and have one of the distinct honors of being one of the 12 founders of this organization. So, hey, indeed, seeing where we are right now in technology and LinkedIn Live, I'm absolutely loving this. This is absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Tamiko. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, everyone, for putting us here live. And as they used to say on NBC, and in living color.
Yes, sir. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm gonna go over to Miss Michelle Brewer. Say hello to the people.
Hi, everyone. I am Michelle Brewer. I am the SVP of Operations and Logistics for NAAAHR. And at the conference, I was your COVID compliance officer as well.
Right.
And I got to say, she definitely played her role well. She is COVID-19 compliance officer. So thank you, Michelle.
Let me tell y'all something. I ain't gonna ride past her without saying. Let me tell you something. If there's a commercial out there that needs to be shot with Lysol and anybody else, y'all better holler at Michelle, because she was holding it down. It was like we were in a cocoon of safety. Right. On lock.
We felt like Lawrence. We felt like we were at the NBA inside the bubble in Orlando.
Right. Exactly what it was. She was not playing games. Like, come here with your temperature.
I had to.
Thank you.
Well, you did a great job, Michelle. And hey, we owe you a great deal of gratitude. So thank you. Absolutely.
All right. And we can next, Mr. Ivan Crosling.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ivan Crosling. I'm honored to serve as the Executive Director for the National Association of African Americans Human Resources. We continue to talk about this virtual conference that we pulled off. I'm still on that virtual high because I hate to say, not that I hate to say, but we did it. Because I was about to say I can't believe we did it, but you know what? We did it. We did an amazing job. We had an amazing team. Yes, and we could not have done it without this team here. And I want to make sure that I just also just send a shout out to a few members, the team members who are not here. We have Katrina Weekly, Shantae Madison, Lanisa James, and Tyrese Thomas. Just a few members who are not here now, but hey, we had an amazing team. I mean, we were doing the thing, and wow, I can't wait. I actually can't wait for the next one. So.
Yes, now.
Right.
And we know where that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Don't tell them yet, Lawrence. Don't tell them yet.
I'm already working on my icy hot Tootsie Roll. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal experience. That's all I can say. We really took it to the next level. And now it's time to raise the bar yet again. That's how we do it. So
love it. Thank you so much for being here, Ivan. And go jump over to Charles.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charles Borden, and I'm the nerd of the group. So I'm the director of IT operations here at NAAAHR, and it is a pleasure to be here with you. I'm already starting thinking about what we're going to do for the next conference, so the wheels are turning already.
We are watching. We are watch what we say.
Hey, I know, right?
Wait a minute.
I'm taking notes.
I love it. Thank you for being here, Charles. And then Mr. William Rollick, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous this evening. Hey, the thing that I have to say is I'm kind of representing a dual purpose here because I get a chance to represent the National Association of African Americans in Human Resources as the immediate past president, but I'm also representing Workforce Logic as an annual ally and a former platinum sponsor of this year's conference. So we're on board, we're connected, and we're moving this baby forward. So I'm excited about what's to come.
Oh, thank you so much for being here, William. And I'm so grateful, y'all. Our National Association of African Americans in Human Resources Atlanta President Troy Felder.
Hey, what's going on, Lauren? Say what's going on, team. Appreciate y'all. I apologize for being late here, and really excited about this evening, and appreciate this collection of individuals, this collection of the meeting of the minds, I guess I'll call it. I do appreciate the opportunity.
Certainly, sir.
Thank you so much for being here, sir, because we're going to have an awesome conversation. And Tamiko, I think we got the introductions out the way, but your introduction was okay about you, but who are you?
I know. Listen, everyone. Hello. My name is Tamiko Drummond, and guess what? I'm known as the brand success coach. My company is called Lotus Consulting Marketing. Our tagline, once you choose us, they will never stop talking about you. Guess what? I am a branding and marketing expert, but also I'm an HR consultant. Now, a lot of times, HR consultants may not think about, you're in HR, you don't think about your brand. Don't you know your brand is important? Have you ever missed out on a promotion? When people are thinking about, when managers are thinking about, hey, we have this new role, does your name come up? So if you don't think about your brand, I implore you, think about it now. Okay. So guys, I want to pose a question. In HR, where's the brand of HR going? And before you answer that, actually, tell us more about NAAAHR Atlanta. We have been around for a very long time. The people realize how long and the purpose of NAAAHR Atlanta. So who wants to jump in first? I don't know if Nat wants to jump in.
Oh, I'm going to let Troy talk about that since he's the president of the Atlanta chapter. And I'll fill in those gaps. Put you on the spot there, Mr. President of Atlanta.
No problem. I probably got to make it up to you all for being late. So no, I don't mind at all. And so when I think about NAAAHR Atlanta, I think about the largest chapter in the country under the association. Started as a small group that actually merged under the umbrella of NAAAHR, and that was more than 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so, we are now a chapter that, I'm proud to say is the back-to-back reigning national large chapter of the year. We have a very phenomenal board as it relates to, some of the new energy and new thoughts, strategic processes, changes that we're making in terms of corporate partnerships and what we deliver in terms of content to our members in the Atlanta HR community. And I think the one beautiful thing that has come about with the positive, I say, maybe not beautiful is not the right word, but one positive that come out of COVID in this virtual environment is that access that we now have. When we were meeting in person in Georgia Power headquarters, we were limited to those 60 or 70 people that could make their way through the traffic to downtown. But now we reach Birmingham, we reach Raleigh, Charlotte, Jacksonville. We have attendees to our events, and we actually have attendees at the national level from other chapters across the nation. And we're so excited about that. Going back to your question, Tamiko, I will say in terms of HR, where it's going, we want to be a part of that, number one, not only as a local chapter, but also as a national organization. I think I speak for everyone when I say that. But I'll also say that, where HR is going is one that is aligned to strategic objectives. They understand the business. They're focused on talent development and cultural change. And so in order to do that, you have to be an HR business partner as opposed to an HR manager. I distinguish between those two. An HR manager is one that manages, people and processes as opposed to policy and also change. And so, that's where I think HR is going, and that's where I want to see our organizations help to drive it.
All right. Thank you, Troy. Is there anything you want to add, Nat?
No, basically, I agree totally with Troy. I mean, that was the concept in there that you really want to be that HR business partner to your particular organization and to your group, because as I say to our young entering into the field HR, whatever industry that you're in, particularly if it's a private sector, understand how the company makes money and how you can bring value added to that particular department. So even if it's a nonprofit or a healthcare arena, really, what are they in the business of doing? And how you as a HR person can align yourself up with that particular business unit and become an asset, not a liability. And that's really what we're talking about now, where they view you, and I've always done it in my career. I want them to view me as an asset, as a value added. So if we're having a meeting with that department and they're talking about the strategic operation or the strategic direction, you're not an afterthought. You're included in there. And they look at you as an asset and say, well, you may not be in that office, but guess what? You're part of our team. So again, I'm echoing what Troy is saying and adding maybe a little bit added to that. But you want to be that full business partner where they consider you as part of the team, and that, again, whatever they're doing, plotting their strategic direction, you're included in that decision-making apparatus.
All right, excellent. Thank you for that. Now, we just got off of a conference, right? And being that we've been in COVID, we had to pivot. I don't know who wants to pick up and talk about why was it important that we pivoted? How you think the conference went? We're still coming off this conference high. The speakers were on site, y'all. But I don't know about you. I'm like super, super duper excited and just amazed. So we'll start with Erica, and then if whoever wants to chime in, just talking about why we had to pivot to the way we did, and what were the effects, like what are people saying now after the conference, what's next?
Oh my gosh, I think the team was ready to kill me by the end of it all because we worked hard. Why did we pivot? We didn't really have a choice. human life is more important to us than anything else. So, where the conference would have been last year in October, sitting in the middle of a pandemic, there was no way we could have pulled this off at that time. And I really didn't want to take the risk. But as Ivan said, this was our very first hybrid virtual conference, and the bar for the next and the next and the next. What I will say is we're getting such tremendous feedback. Our phones are blasting, our emails, we can't catch up enough with emails. And just going back to what you just asked before, I'm going to speak about NAAAHR as we are both HR practitioners and business leaders. We don't manage, we lead. And I just stole that from one of our board of directors, Tyrese Thomas. He's not on the call tonight, but he was part of the team that helped put this conference together. He said, Erica, I don't manage, I lead. And that's what NAAAHR does. We don't manage, we lead. And what I mean by that is we lead by being examples. We lead by being consultants. We lead by being partners. And we lead by the way we operate. And it is always with excellence. So what we could have done better, okay, we'll make up for it next time. What we should have done, okay, we'll make up for it, but we lead with excellence. And we are unapologetic about everything that we did because we think it was a successful event. I'm thrilled. I can't wait for next year. I know y'all said don't talk about it just yet, but my bags are packed. I know William's bags are packed. Nat's bags. Look, we are ready to go.
Listen, my bags are packed. We're going to talk about that shortly. We're going to talk about that. But I know we had to learn some new technology, and I don't know if Charles wants to speak on that, and then Ivan, just talk about the technology that we utilize for the conference, please.
Okay, so the technology was a bit of a challenge at first. We actually went from, I guess, being on site to being a hybrid, which we looked at some technology, some applications there. And then as COVID continued to exist, we decided, as Erica said, to go pretty much virtual. So that meant finding another application. And so the challenge was finding an application and standing it up in all of the ecosystem within, I guess, less than 3 months, which is a very, very short period of time to try to do something like that. We actually pulled it off, and I think we did a great job at it. So that is pretty much the biggest challenge, was the short period of time, and the fact that we had to design an application, load it with all of the contents, and make sure it was tested thoroughly before we could have the conference. And all of that was done in about 12 weeks or so.
Wow. And what an amazing job that was done. Thank you so much. Ivan, did you want to talk any further about the conference, how it went, et cetera?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you for this opportunity again, because, I tell everybody, I've been doing conferences for a number of years. Literally, I was on autopilot. But this year, it felt like I had to learn it all over again. I'm the one who watches the money, and it's down to the very last dime. So I want to know what's being spent and where. And when I saw the AV quote, I said, wait a minute, but it was our first time doing it. And, there was an opportunity where, in the past, I would say, do we need this? Why do we need it? But we wanted, as we mentioned earlier, we wanted to do this with the spirit of excellence. We wanted to do it right. And so we partnered with an amazing company there. Amazing. The hotel was amazing. The team at the hotel was amazing, walking me through every piece that was needed, because we wanted to make sure that we had all that we needed to pull it off. Different opportunities, different, just all the technology. It was just amazing. It looked like the whole studio. I think back to the first conference that we had and what that looked like compared to the studio, if you will, that we had at the hotel this year. And all I can say, we definitely raised the bar, and that just means we're going to the next level even after that. but it was a beautiful experience.
And
Right.
Tamiko, really, if I can add a little bit on this, and I put it in our national newsletter on Chairman's Corner, this was a game changer in my mind. And when I think about what we accomplished and what really the team, and not so much we, but the team of Ivan and others, this was a game changer in terms of where we go in terms of the future. And as I reflect back, really, when we talk about COVID, this is now almost officially 1 year. And for an organization to have our previous conference cancel and then being able to pivot, as Charles said, in a short period of time, and to put together, to me, a very high-class professional conference using a hybrid platform and embracing the technology to get it to this level was really, to me, quote again, a game changer. And as Ivan mentioned, it takes us now to a total different level that will make us really a relevant organization in the future in terms of the digital platform, where we were able to put that content in there. So I was just excited about it, embraced it, and just can't say enough about where this now propels us to the future.
Yeah. If I may add, this going virtual, it has, now we have no limits. When we, at one time we were, just strictly face to face. But now with this virtual experience, there are no limits, and again, as I talk about the AV, all the lighting we had up lighting, down lighting, side lighting. So we made sure that everything was lit properly. So, it really, you'll hear us say over and over again, it was a game changer. And it just says at this point, we're limitless. We have no limits. So we're pretty excited.
I love it. Limitless. Hey, we have participants, and hello to everyone who are watching. Thank you so much. Your comments are actually coming through. So Joseph had a question. He wants to know, is the conference recorded or available on demand?
Oh, who wants to take that?
This is Charles.
Yeah.
The conference is recorded, and right now it's only available to the attendees of the conference, the paid attendees of the conference. But we are looking into how we can take the content, the recordings from the conference, and put them on a different platform and share that with some others. So that's still in the works, and hopefully we'll have an idea or a solution soon.
Okay.
And
oh, go ahead.
Yep, I just want to add, if your viewers, whether on LinkedIn or Facebook, if you attended the conference, I believe Charles is going to have the content on the Accelevent platform until the end of this month.
Okay. Awesome.
Correct.
Thank you. Listen, I know that Dr. Carl has been quiet, but there's a story that you always tell, Dr. Carl, about when you joined NAAAHR and what were the effects of you joining. So can you just speak on that, of why you joined the organization, what the organization is about, and how it's helped you in your career?
Oh, well, sure. I'd be happy to. And thanks for this platform too. It's so powerful, and thanks for creating the opportunity for us to talk more about the organization. Yeah, it's true. I like to say that I grew up at NAAAHR, really sitting under the feet of our chairman when they were giving birth to the association between the Baltimore and the Washington organizations. I was very young in my career, and I just stumbled into a couple of the meetings. I was a human resources leader working with Marriott at the time. And so I was hanging out with some other HR. We had a small HR association in downtown Baltimore where all the HR leaders would actually meet in different hotels. And so I stumbled into one of those meetings. And from there, I just said, wow, this is like the best thing since sliced bread, to learn the practical approaches to NAAAHR and see that there's an infrastructure. And more importantly, that there's a place for someone like me. This is 2021, but I can share with you, all the way back to when you're starting your career, as I did, kind of 1994, 95. wasn't a lot of good role models and a whole lot of places to go. We didn't have a national network of chapters. We could just download, a membership application and then, go to your local meetings like you can do at the largest chapter of NAAAHR in the world right here in Atlanta. So we didn't have that. So it was beautiful watching them build the organization. But more than an infrastructure, it is an association. So that's how the career connections actually happen. I'll never forget, I was at a in-property hotel leadership role, and working through my network at NAAAHR, I got a corporate level opportunity in Pittsburgh. And then from there, all of my other career opportunities, they really came through networking, and most of them happened at our national conferences. So for example, when we had our conference at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Louis, I was networking and doing some work with two of our members who had decided to start an executive search firm. They were recruiters for various companies. And so it was through that relationship that I got my job being the head of human resources for Denny's restaurants. And so again, move after move. Later on, I would go to become a vice president at Wachovia through another member connection. And the story is just on and on. So look, the purpose of the organization is this. And I was texting some of our leaders earlier today, and the fact is the organization is designed to, one, create an association, and two, make leaders. Like Erica said, we don't manage, we make leaders here at NAAAHR. And so a lot of the people that are on the call today, the organization has supported them in building their character, their competencies, and their skill set to serve various organizations. I remember, not long ago when I was leading the organization, I had gotten promoted from being a chapter president. That wasn't big enough, so they asked me to do regional work. And then they asked me to become the national president as well. And so in my role as national president, I actually recruited our immediate past president, William Rolak, who thought, he had fulfilled a lot of his career aspirations, but he came in as a parliamentarian, and he also had some other junior career work that he was doing, and we start mentoring and working, and again, we make leaders, and now my fraternity brother, now my brother is a VP at a major organization running the show on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So just a little bit of testimony for people watching. If you're trying to what do you call it? Boom your career. I think one year we were talking about that. If you're trying to boom your career, boom your networks, you definitely want to go online, get yourself a membership with the National Association of African Americans in Human Resources, and start experiencing what I call the soul of our organization. We're not a society or a league or an academy. We're an association. We don't just put out research materials. We don't just host meetings. We have a soul about us. We believe that being connected and in a deep association, that allows us to fulfill the organizational goals of NAAAHR, which is to create a national forum and a network to advance our members to their highest level of career achievement.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I just want to pause for a second, because what Dr. Jefferson didn't tell you, our vice chairman, is what he had done for the organization under the White House administration. So Dr. Carl Jefferson, I'm putting you back on the spot now. You got to get back on camera. Come back off me. Because this is what I'm proud about the organization. A lot of people don't know what Dr. Jefferson has done while he was president. Dr. Jefferson, come on back off mute.
Okay, there we go. You guys are all right. So again, one of the things that we do is we leverage our relationships. And at our conferences that we held in Washington, D.C., we had some representatives from the Obama administration, the White House, actually come over and make some presentation. And this young woman, she was a Biz Scott. She was a special assistant directly to President Obama. And she came in, she was so excited about the organization. And she said, I think there's more stuff that we should do together. And I said, well, let's have some conversations. One thing led to another. She had some business down here in Atlanta. Truth be told, her son was looking for a mentor and was making his way getting entry into Morehouse. And so I always say things happen through personal relationships. We kept communicating until finally she said, listen, there is an opportunity for really a member of the organization to actually represent our membership with the White House's Office of Presidential Personnel. And so through that role, we were actually able to send our member resumes directly to the White House for consideration for political appointments and, with and into the Obama administration. And so that was a huge experience. We would have monthly conference calls, and we'd be talking with leaders from all around the country and organizations that were similar to mine. And our whole purpose and goal was to make sure that the White House was populated with people that look like us, and not just in HR, but for senior roles reporting directly to the president or an indirect report, but still a part of the organization. So they relied on NAAAHR to help them staff those positions. So that's how it all went down.
Yes, that is so amazing. That is so amazing. I absolutely love this organization. For those who don't know, right now I'm on the board as a board advisor, but I was on the board as a VP of Digital Media Strategy for almost 6 years. So listen, in a way, I kind of grew up in this organization as well. You talked about DEI, right? And during COVID and all the things that happened with George Floyd and everything that's been happening within the news, right? A lot of organizations just came out with their press releases. Hey, we've created this role and now they have a DEI person. I won't say it's my opinion, but it's my opinion that that role is more like marketing, right? So they put out the press release, they create the role, and then the person comes in, but there's actually no strategy behind what's going to happen to create change within the organization. So I want Nat to talk about it, and then I'm going to go to William, because I know, William, you have this title, and just tell me how you're going to take that on within your organization. Nat?
Okay, I'll come off mute. Well, I give probably more so of a historical perspective of the DEI, having been a C-suite executive many, many years ago, and now having a consulting firm. And particularly now when we talk about our social justice and what's happening now in terms of Black Lives Matter and all, and companies coming out now saying, hey, we embrace diversity and inclusion and equity and all, and we say, hey, this is great. In my opinion, I said to our organization, let's see how sincere you really are. And I'm saying how sincere you really are related to these companies that are now going out here creating these CDOs and DEI positions. Is it a box checking, or are you really sincere about that? And I've shared it with others out there that I've seen on LinkedIn, so many companies promoting and announcing the appointment of people into these positions. But I've also seen too, particularly an article in the Wall Street Journal back last year, the turnover rate in that. And so my experience has been, I've seen it before when they weren't DEIs or CDOs, they were AAs, AAOs, affirmative action officers. And in some cases, this is a reminiscent of those type of things last many 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago when I started out in the HR field. Yes, affirmative action was there and you got labeled that, but at the same time, you really didn't have any what I call juice or any influence to create a change. So I'm wondering now, is this the same one? Is this the same thing? I use a phrase, is it the same bubble gum, but a new wrapper on it? And so when I see companies doing that now, one of the first things I look at too is who's sitting on the board of directors. And if that's not diverse, then that really gives me a little hesitancy in saying, really, are you really sincere in making a long-term commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion? So to see companies like Workforce Logic with our immediate past president, William Rolak, really stepping up and saying, guess what? We're not just going to talk about it. We're going to walk the talk and talk the walk. And that's what I see now that should be happening in that DEI arena. So if I'm stepping on some people's toes out there, guess what? I'm wise enough, old enough to say, I'm sorry, but this is my opinion of being in this industry for over 40 years and seeing evolve to now where the benchmark to me is going to be companies like Workforce Logic and William Rolack.
Well, and before William jumps out there, I'm gonna tell you right now, Nat, you've not only earned the opportunity to be Sammy Davis Jr. dancing on some people, but it's about time. It's long overdue. So it's about time to and William, I get on. That's all. Get on. Let's go.
Well, hey, the chairman gave me a nice toss up there, and he has every right to step on toes. This work is serious business, and it should be taken as serious business. It's a very unfortunate. And Tamiko, thank you for the lead in on tackling whether it's window dressing or are people really looking at the business case, and not just the business case, the business imperative. Because right now you can't afford not one organization in any industry, whether it's healthcare, whether it's mission-based organizations, nonprofit, education, private sector, government. No one can afford the opportunities now for only to do this work through window dressing, right? And so they just can't afford it. The price is too high. The cost of employee engagement is too high to have it only as window dressing. And here's some key points I want to make, because Nat brought up a key point as well in the article, but it came up in the Wall Street Journal. We are HR practitioners by trade. You must recruit. I'm going to repeat this. You must recruit someone who has the knowledge and the ability, the emotional fortitude, and some of the basic instinct areas around HR to lead the D&I effort. There is an interesting caveat to the Wall Street Journal that's causing the turnover. A huge part of that is the non-recruitment of a diversity practitioner or someone who has a well-rounded experience in order to come in and move the organization. So it ends up looking like window dressing because someone doesn't have the ability to affect change. They don't have enough experience. This happens, and I'll give you the reason why this happens. And this happens a lot because there are many D&I executives who get the proverbial tap. And if any of you know what that means, in HR, you know what that means. The proverbial tap is a tap on the shoulder. You work in the organization, you're a vice president, or you're a manager, or you're a senior leader, and you get the proverbial tap. Hey, this person's African American, or they're Hispanic or Asian or LGBTQ, disabilities or veteran. You know what? You should lead our diversity effort. But they have no knowledge of ABA. They have no knowledge of EEOC. They have no knowledge of Title VII. And I can go on. They have no knowledge of ADEA. And I'm just going to leave the acronyms out there for all you HR folk. The AIDS Discrimination Employment Act. So these are things that we must know coming to the table. And again, it doesn't matter where we come from in the organization. You can come from any space and any discipline. But there are foundational disciplines that are rooted in human resources that are going to be needed to move that needle and move the numbers. But, it's going to really take the organization also embracing diversity and inclusion. The last piece that I'll say about this is that there is an evolution. And you heard Carl talking about his evolution and the evolution from management or human resources manager to human capital. We are at the crossroads today in this evolution. There was an evolution from personnel to HR or HR resources to human capital to now we're moving to total inclusion. And within this paradigm of total inclusion, all voices must be heard. So organizations not only need to set up a D&I strategy that moves the business strategy, that's where it starts, but they must also set up a structure that includes all voices, which means setting up inclusion councils in conjunction to ERGs or BRGs. BRGs and ERGs right now compensate anywhere from 15 to 25% of the organizations. I know there's organizations that say they have 50% of their employees. That's great, but what about the other 50%? Where are they in this opportunity? So a big challenge now is getting into this door through allyship or altruism. And I'm here to tell you today, the better course of action is to bring all your employees to the table and give them the opportunity to represent diversity and inclusion through altruism first, so they can come with their heart, and allyship being another vehicle. So I just wanted to give that in scope, and if there's any responses or feedback, please feel free to jump in.
Well, and I appreciate that, William, particularly from and I'm gonna tell on myself. We family here, and we all. I had to look up when I first saw altruism. I was like, I said, who's that? I said, what's altruism? And when I looked at it, I was like, I've been living this thing. It's a level of selfless service that you actually wrap your arms around this thing as an action. And I know us as an Atlanta chapter, we like to make sure that we put ourselves in position, not just of what's popular, but there's some strategy to it. And I would like to pull in my president, Troy, to really talk about just kind of the vision that you set us on as a chapter on the course with, as it pertains to not only being relevant, but making sure we're also staying present in everyday interactions.
Yeah, certainly. We appreciate it. And I don't know if I can follow up what William just shared. That was good stuff. That's the gold nugget takeaway for me. But when you're talking about those processes for the Atlanta chapter, what comes to mind initially before I go into my comment and response is, going from diversity, equity, and inclusion. I heard a speaker say we want to move towards justice. My CHRO actually struck a chord with me because she no longer refers to this past summer following the murder of George Floyd, and she referred to it as murder, as social injustice, because she refers to it as social justice, because again, that's what we need to move towards. And so when I think about Atlanta's position in that, of course, this is, some people refer to as the Black Mecca. That's the approach that we take as a board. And so we've embarked on, what we refer to as our 2 to 3 year strategic plan. And so we want to make sure that we raise our profile in terms of the speakers and the content that we present. We also want to make sure from a corporate sponsorship standpoint, we're continuing to engage with organizations, because even though we are an HR organization, we feel that we support more than just the HR function in Atlanta. We support the Atlanta HR community, the Atlanta business community is what I intended to say. The Atlanta business community is who we look to support. Because again, I think this is another tagline that'll come out of this session. We don't just manage, we lead. And so from that perspective, we're really being intentional, again, about content, sponsorships, and we're also being intentional about where we want to go next, what this organization is going to look like long-term, what it is we can offer, what it is we can learn, because we're not looking to be and position ourselves as the end-all be-all. We're looking to to evolve, be agile, but also be intentional about any and everything that we do.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, speaking of being agile, I want to go to Erica. Erica, talent acquisition. Talk to us about the talent perspective. What do organizations need to do in order to bring in I want to say effective talent, but the right talent? And sometimes, I've heard this when I produce for large companies or train in large companies, people will ask the questions, well, I know we're dealing with diversity and inclusion, but how do we get the right talent? So can you just speak on that for me? Because I think there's like I don't know, they think maybe talent and diversity can't come, you can't find the right talent and be diverse. So if you can speak on that for me.
And you know what? That's the wrong way of thinking. So first of all, everybody in talent acquisition has to turn away from the simple recruiting and become talent advisors. You can't do your job as just that paper pusher recruiter. It's like the chairman said, and I think William even said, don't be just a box checker. You have to be more talent advisors. And what that means is you got to do the work. You can't just rest on the post and pray process. You have to uncover that diverse talent. You have to look for the talent where nobody else is looking for it. You might have to tap the shoulders of someone and say, hey, you might be the one, but if you're not the one, send me in the direction of who is the one. But you can't rest on the old ways of recruiting. You can't rest on the old ways of talent acquisition in its normal format. You have to become a consultant and an advisor, as we've said a couple times on this call. Stop being a manager and be a leader. Really be a leader. But that means you got to put the work in, and you have to be the one that's going to set the bar, raise the bar, and find those diverse ways. Does diversity come with talent acquisition? It absolutely has to. Why? Because we're hiring people into a business culture. And the only way to turn some of those old habits and old ways, it's all about who you know, and it's growing up in the business, or your mom knows your dad, knows your cousin, knows your uncle. Can't do that anymore. We have to look at new ways of tapping into that diverse talent, and that's going to take some work. Recruiting, we got too lazy. We got too comfortable. We have a term, post and pray. We got to bury that one. And we have to be more innovative. We have to be more strategically aligned. And we have to have diverse recruiting strategies. Bottom line, we got to do it.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that too, Tamiko, when I look at here, Erica and William and Troy talk about this. I don't see sometimes D&I and DEI being separate somewhat. I look at it, and I guess I'm going back to my experience. When I was in corporate America as a vice president, a C-suite, I played the role of diversity and inclusion. And I basically was labeled in some cases back then the Black Godfather, because my whole role was, okay, here's what I'm going to go after. I'm going to go after diversity and inclusion, as William talked about, as far as ADA, ADEA, and all of that. That was in my realm of responsibility, and as well as talent acquisition, as well as compensation. But I made sure that I wanted to go out and get at that diverse talent. And I guess really what motivated me was my first person that I consider my mentor. And Carl mentioned it back when he was at Marriott. I learned and cut my teeth at Marriott. And I worked for a person at Marriott by the name of Bud Ward, James Bud Ward. And James Bud Ward right now lives in DC. He was a senior vice president for Marriott Hotel Division. And he asked me what was my plan. And when I didn't know that, he mentored me. But what I saw in him was he went out and recruited back then people who look like him, look like me. So when I see diversity and inclusion, I'm challenging people on LinkedIn and live right now who are in that C-suite area that have that title of Vice President of Human Resources, and you are a C-suite executive, have some juice in there, and where you can work in harmony if you have a CDO there. If not, you're it. And you've got to go out there and look for people on that C-suite level. If they need a CFO, you go out there and give them the talent and coach that talent, because that's what I did. I coached that talent so he or she would be in a position that they basically almost couldn't say no in getting the job. So again, I recognize that companies got to have that, but I also put that onus and that responsibility on that vice president of human resources for that company. You got to play that role if you're going to, and I feel very comfortable because playing that role of a Black Godfather, and I loved it well. Hey, I made sure that we were diverse all up and down that hierarchy of that particular company, wherever I was. So that's what we've got to do also. It's not either or, but combine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, can I add a little color to what my godfather has just shared with you, and just to turn this thing a little bit. It's one thing to have a talent acquisition and management process that gets diverse talent to the company and into the company's door, but the reality is the culture of the organization ready to entertain the capabilities of diverse talent. And my experience is, like our chairman, having run diversity, or having had the diversity title 2 times as either a strategist or an advisor for 2 major corporations, and advising senior leadership, one of the things that we struggled with terribly, and I still think that's the case today, is usually our talent acquisition, they can get the talent into the organization, right? They can make the offer, the compensation will be right, the relocation plan will be right. My experience, though, is when they get there, they move in, but they can't live there too long. And it's just that the culture has its way of resisting the promise and the potential of really talent that doesn't look, think, walk, talk, or act like them. And I think that is the thing that I want, corporations who might possibly be listening to this. It's okay to have your DEI strategy, but for me, inclusion is always the outcome. Can we be inclusive? Can people actually come in, set up shop, camp, practice their skill set, and actually stay? And I will tell you, the moment we look at the metrics and start looking at the retention rates, by race and identity groups, what we still seem to find is that there's a whole lot of turnover. And I go back to what William suggested when he said, these DEI executives, you must have the emotional fortitude. That's the first thing. And the second thing is you have to have the finances. And by finances, that means you may have to finance your way into another organization, because it's one thing when you drop everything, you move in. My experience is you don't get a chance to stay there too long. If you're really doing the work and you're pushing the culture, you're making the change, there's a lot of pressure. So you definitely need that emotional fortitude. And if it doesn't work, I think you're going to have to make a decision, because if you're really in the loop and you actually know the no, you can go in and question the HR team and say, okay, why is this person leaving? You start finding out that, they left, here's their exit interview data, and you spend all this money to recruit them. And you don't just have one person, you have 2 people, you have 3 people from top tier organizations. Then we got to look at the culture of the organization.
I love it. And there's also something that's to be said about organizations like NAAAHR at the national level, and something that we've taken a focus on in NAAAHR Atlanta is pulling in non-traditional HR talent, or purist, if you will. And I want to bring in somebody who we kind of jokingly said she secured every single one of us at the conference. But Michelle, I know, are you a purist, or are you just somebody who loves being around HR folks for what we got access to?
Well, actually, when I first started with the organization, I was a employee benefits specialist. So that's actually how I got started with the organization in the first place. And I used to train on employee benefits as well. So I kind of stepped away from that to pursue other dreams that I had, but I'm still a part of the organization as far as other things are concerned.
And I'm a pry because we live, so you can't lie. What keeps you around this group of HR professionals in being in such a pivotal role? Because let's be honest, I don't think any of the speakers would have showed up had the organization put in a flyer in writing that we would be secure. And you taking that role, and not just it being a box to check, but you secured an entire conference, and every single one of us felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
So what went into that as it pertains to you in operations?
Well, as far as for the conference is concerned, once I knew that we were going to be on site, that was my main focus. That was my priority. I usually take on the role of doing a lot of other things at conference, but this was my main focus. I wanted to make sure that everyone was safe, and you can stamp 100% guarantee on that, because I know I was there for it. Also, because I am a certified trained COVID officer, it allows me to see a lot of different things that people don't pay attention to. So it's just it was my job to make sure that you guys are safe and that you didn't have to worry. If I saw anything was out of place, I would definitely shut it down. If you had a temperature, you would not be allowed, because I don't play with the death and the seriousness of it. So you guys were coming to us. So I wanted you to feel safe, and that was my total focus when I was there.
I'm going to say thank you, Tamiko, those of us who were there. Again, thank you so much for the role you played. And as we begin to kind of put a bow on today, this is just the beginning for NAAAHR and NAAAHR Atlanta of these lives, because I wanted, and Troy, as we talked about what we wanted this to be, along with Tamiko, was people getting the opportunity to see that we're not operating in a vacuum as it pertains to expertise, as to reaching out and being a community for each other. But this is something that is sustainable and something that we have to do our own succession planning, right, y'all? Like we have to be looking about who's next. And so I'm gonna kick it to Erica, and then kick it to Nat, then kick it to Troy. What does the next wave of life look like over the next year for NAAAHR? And this is where you could say that announcement about the conference and all the rest of that stuff.
Listen, before we could even get off the stage at the kickoff, we were ready to go. So, we have had a tremendous growth at the U.S. Virgin Islands. Second largest chapter to Atlanta, grew very quickly in their year plus time. They're now 2 years old with us as of February this year. And Director Dana Clendenin was our keynote speaker for the gala. So you got a taste of what we're going to experience next year at the conference. And I even had an epiphany one night. It was about 11 o'clock. One night I had an epiphany of what the theme would be. Sent a message to the office of the chair, Nat Alston, Dr. Carl Jefferson, and William Rolak. They all said, yes, let's do it. Carl added on to the theme. So if everybody's okay with me sharing the theme, Ivan loves it, and everybody I've shared it with so far loves it. Breaking barriers to build better. U.S. Virgin Islands, last week of February 2022. Pack your bags because we're going. Breaking barriers to building better. Last week of February 2022, U.S. Virgin Islands. Dr. Hill, I don't know if you're watching or not, but tell the 3 islands we are on our way. We're ready.
Listen, woo! I am super excited. Yes. Virgin Islands, listen, woo!
I love it. I love it. All right, we're gonna jump to Troy. Troy, talk to us about what Atlanta has going, and we'll jump to Nat.
Awesome, and so this is one thing that we have going is a close relationship with our national organization. We're really looking to expound upon that. Coming out of the national conference and just based on what's going on in the world, we want to be able to leverage and maximize that as best we can. We have a mentorship program that's getting ready to kick off later on this month, and so really excited about that. Not only the mentors, those that have signed up, we really wanted to identify leaders at different levels in their careers, but also those that are involved with the chapter. They can be advocates for the chapter and the organization as a whole. But really excited for those mentees, those that have chosen to invest in themselves, their careers, their development. And really, when we look at the theme of the mentorship program, Give to Get, it really is designed to be a two-way street. Both the mentor and the mentee are going to be asked to give some things, and they're also going to receive. And I think that's how it should be, whether formal or informal mentoring is in play. Outside of that, we got new member orientation that is also coming up, and we're just really looking forward to our next chapter meetings. As I understand it, and you probably can speak to it more than I can, Lawrence. Our April and May chapter meetings are already on the books, and you'll be seeing more promotions along those events. But I really want to thank again our other chapters I hate to start naming them, I almost did, but the other chapters that participate in our events, we want to do the same and pour into each other. Again, this virtual environment makes that so easy, and I think it's important to continue to support each other.
Thank you so much, Troy. And Nat, just kicking off, I know you have some vision casting and some things to share.
Yes, it was, as I look at us really as an organization, and as Troy mentioned in terms of mentoring and all, and I mentioned to Tamika to take a look at our 7-minute video, what our vision is. And I shared it when we were down at our conference. Several points. I want us to still remain relevant. I want us also to look at the long term. As Troy mentioned, we've got new people coming in from this now new platform that we're operating from that are entering into the HR field. And our challenge, as I see it as a national organization, is that we're going to be in a constant state of change. And that constant state of change has got to be maintain that relevancy for that new person coming in. And I get very personal when I say that this way. I've got 3 grandchildren, and I said it during the conference. One is 8, one is 10, one is 15. And if they select 10 years from now, the one that's 15 that's 25. The one that's 8 is 18 and is getting ready to go into college and maybe decide to going into an HR career. And the one that's 8 is going to be 18 going in there. And the one that's 10 is going to be 20. The critical point, if they enter into the field of human resources or whatever that name will be 10 years from now, I want to see our organization be as relevant for them coming in. And so they can start off, as you said, Troy, as an entry-level person in their career, as an entry-level person, as a member of the National Association of African Americans in Human Resources, and that the core values that we have, the mentoring that you talked about, the family, the connections, the career development, whatever they need, this organization will be the primary resource for them to go to. So my vision is for us, the word that you're going to hear me say all along in terms of 5, 10, 15 years from now is being relevant for the future.
Thank you so much, Nat. And we couldn't do what we do without the help, the economic support of all of our sponsors. And so I want to actually start with our national sponsors of the national board, but then also Troy as Atlanta, making sure we shout out our folks that support and hold us down here locally. So I'm gonna start with Ivan. You're on mute, sir. You got excited.
I did. Thank you. So let me just first I want to first just thank all of our sponsors / partners, and we call them strategic partners, because it really is about building relationships. And when we develop or come together as partners, it's not just a one and done. We look for long-term relationships. So I want to make sure I mention our partners from the conference. So we're looking at Morgan Stanley at Work. We're looking at Workforce Logic, Lockton, U.S. Steel, HRCI, Icarus Consulting, EEO Now, AARP, Path Forward Consulting, Court, who came in and provided the beautiful furniture that you saw in the live events, Golden Limo, who provided a safe ground transportation from the airport to the hotel, Columbia Southern University, and then we have DeVry Works, we have Navistar, Buzzaroonie, and Boeing. All these companies and organizations came together to support us because they see the value in the partnership, they see the value in the platform, and we couldn't have done it without them. So I want to say thank you publicly to them all.
Thank you so much, Ivan. And Troy, shout out our folks locally.
Certainly, thanks so much for that. I know, when I think about our long-term strategic partners, I would be remiss if I couldn't mention them quickly. especially, I mentioned Georgia Power a little earlier. That was our host for almost 20 years for our in-person chapter meetings on the second Wednesday of every month. We've been able to have in-person board meetings with Habitat for Humanity. We've had a long-term relationship with Career Spa and Talent Connections, where they offer member-only benefits to our members on an exclusive basis. But then I also think about our new partners. I know we've recently had partnerships with DeVry. We've also done a lot of work here recently with PNC Bank, and actually our next event is actually a learning and development event with PNC. I believe it's in the form of a lunch and learn. And so, really excited about some of these new partnerships. There's a few others that I can't mention yet because we haven't inked those deals, but really thankful to our entire board, executive committee, and I think since we're talking sponsorships, our corporate sponsorship team that's led by Chelsea Spencer Smith, continuing the work of Alexis Holt. And so really thankful to our corporate sponsors that have really helped Atlanta be what it is as, again, the largest chapter in the nation.
Hey, Troy, do you mind if I just give a special shout out to Career Spa and Talent Connections? Just a real good organization. Of course, sometimes they provide a fee for service, and we know that's always the case. But there was an occasion where I needed to refer one of our members who unfortunately did not have career transition assistance. And I just placed one phone call, and they immediately enrolled this person into their whole career spa, which is this amazing process to help people who are in career transition actually find a job. It was, as I understand, it was at a retreat-based club where they take their participants through and just walk them through the process. So I just wanted to shout them all just to give an example that most of our sponsors, they're not just sponsors, they're partners. And so this is beyond the call of duty. That was a fee for service that, companies who do outplacement, that's a heavy fee. And they actually worked with this person for many, many weeks until there was a placement. So I just wanted to give a special shout out to our friends at, Career Spa and Talent Connections. They do really good work.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Jefferson, yes. And one more very, very important partner, as Dr. Jefferson said, is HRCI. For this conference, we were awarded 13.5 recertification credits, the most we've ever had. So if you are an NAAAHR member, that's a total, exactly, Ivan, that's a total of 16.5 recertification credits. If you're not a member, you still receive those 13.5 recertification credits. So guess what, y'all? If you're not a member, now's the time to become a member, because I believe we can, we're going to continue that relationship, that partnership. Get your recertification through HRCI, whether PHR, SPHR, GPHR, all of the certifications they have. Get your recertification. We got the credits for you. So let's do it, y'all.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're just going to end off, and I just want to say a special thank you to you all for showing up, showing out. We knew tonight was going to be jam packed, and we knew we was biting off more than we could chew. But we were so grateful for you all availing yourself to this conversation as a kickoff to many more to come. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting y'all on the hook for us to be able to connect and grow together and glean as we all did tonight. But I want to definitely throw it over to Tamiko for hosting tonight and definitely sharing the space that was earmarked for her as our chapter speaker this month. But Tamiko, go ahead and share with folks how they can connect with you and get you involved in their programs.
Right. Thank you all so much. Again, this was exciting. I don't know if you were excited, but I'm super excited. And thank you all again for extending yourself. My name is Tamiko Drummond. I'm known as the Brand Success Coach. So I'm a facilitator, speaker, and I go into your organization. I can train you on branding. I'm also an HR consultant. So reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Tamiko Drummond. Just find me. You can also follow me on IG at Brand Success Coach, and it's be my absolute pleasure for you to reach out. Okay. Thank you again for giving me this platform. Lawrence and I just watch out for more. Can we talk? Okay.
Yeah. Everyone, thank y'all so much for being here, staying with us through this entire time. But one of the things we just want to share with you again, we do have our next chapter meeting is with one of our sponsors, PNC Bank. We have created a series with them talking about learning and talent development as a chapter meeting. And then in May, we're going to be talking about some customer focused things as well. And so you all remain safe, remain healthy, connect with every single one of our speakers on LinkedIn across all social media. And if you all want to secure your organization event and different things like that, you already know who to call, Michelle Brewer. Keep it safe and keep it secure. So every single one of y'all, thank y'all so much, and be well, be safe, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Team, stay on.
Good night. Thank you all.